American Mary is one of those films that constantly gets talked about for how awesome its concept is, rather than the actual substance of the film. The movie follows a medical student learning surgery who begins performing illegal body modifications for clients on the underground market. The further she goes into this career choice, the darker things become. What a fucking cool setup for a film. I really can't think of any other horror movie that dives this deep into body modification like this, and it does it all without pointing and laughing at the industry. These are simply people who want to look a certain way to be happy. Who are we to judge?
Don't judge me.
Being a surgeon takes some amount of time, and being a student doesn't pay well. Mary has to make ends meet, and she has the assets to make some decent money, so becomes a stripper. It's not that she wants to, but when you're getting $1,000 for a night's work, it's hard to put your pride first. I'm pretty sure most folk can relate to this. I've had to do shitty jobs I didn't want. I just didn't have the body or, let's face it, gender to do this kind of work. It makes her foray into the illegal medical world a little more believable, seeing her in this desperate situation. When there's no doctors willing to go through the more extreme operations, that's where Mary comes in. She's willing to do it, and for a fraction of the price clients usually pay.
I want to hire you.
Well, I'm not a doctor. I told you that.
I want to pay you $10,000. Cash. That ought to solve your money problems for a while.
The film has a great look to it. It's all just so sleazy with a deep, dark colour palette. It's like you're constantly in a dingy strip club. Even when she's in college, it's still bathed in this deep scarlet sheen. Every effect in the movie also holds up. The makeup is really impressive. Her clients are my favourite part of the film. They all have some weird fetish or extreme life choice they want to live out, and they all have over-the-top personalities to go with that. For instance, there's German twin sisters, played by the directors of the movie, the Soska twins, who want to switch body parts with each other so they'll always have a piece of each other with them. That's such a sweet, yet utterly demented idea. I love it.
We want you to take off our left arms and exchange them with one another.
That shouldn't be a problem.
Outside of Catherine Isabel's main performance, the acting is pretty wonky.
Surgeons don't have the luxury about being sorry about anything, Mary.
Okay, it's bad. From the very first scene with her teacher, I sucked through my teeth and was like, wow, how many takes did they do where that was the best? It really gives off a budget movie vibe with some of these performances. Such as Beatrice, a Betty Boop obsessed client who just sounds like a terrible impression of Betty Boop.
Tessa, honey, don't be a cunt.
Not everyone is bad, but there's definitely a B-movie quality that ruins the thing, since it's shot like a high-class production. The soundtrack needs a shout out though. It's filled with dark rock tunes that give it an edge. Again, it adds to the sleazy erotic vibe the whole film goes for. They're all stylish gothic sex jams.
In the spirit of practice, I've come up with a little list of the most popular procedures that we are going to try on you tonight.
When Mary gets angry is when the film gets disturbing. It's weirdly unsettling seeing someone so calm and professional while committing the most horrifying acts. It's an excellent example of realistic body horror. It reminds me of films like Audition or Hard Candy. Only difference is, here, this is something her clients are looking to do. They want the so-called horror she can perform, and it's only when the surgery is non-consensual that it hits deep. However, Mary's switch from a worried yet desperate wee lamb into a tough badass is also way too fast. It quite literally happens overnight. It's actually quite bizarrely bad how there's literally zero transition. Halfway through the film, she's reborn as a dark anti-hero, and relishes her new role as an almost mythological black market figure. But she also grows a big ego, and her overconfidence is what gets her into more trouble. There's a lot of funny black humour spread throughout the film, and while most of it works, Mary also meets many memorable but cartoonish characters that clashes so heavily with the horror aspects. And that's the biggest issue I have with the film. It can never deliver a firm mood. One minute you're interacting with a couple of larger-than-life incestual sisters with hokey accents dancing to a pop tune, the next it's a grimly serious revenge tale with abhorrent acts of torture.
What we're going to do with you today.
It's never a smooth transition between these jarring tones, and it really hurts the second half of the film. And yeah, the third act kinda collapses in on itself. It just runs out of ideas, and we don't get any more interesting interactions or creative new clients. There's some more scenes of great horror, but the narrative just kinda peters out, and for me wasn't a satisfying climax. American Mary is frustrating. It's so close to greatness, but there's numerous issues that hold it back. I keep hearing they're going to do a sequel or prequel, and I'd love to see it. I want to see more weird clients and journeys into the underground body modification scene. For some, the issues it has will be too much, and while it does have many flaws, in my opinion, there's more than enough highly memorable things about American Mary that make it worth your while.